There are specific things that all top listing agents share in common that causes them to become a top listing agent. What are they? That's what I'm going to share with you in this new episode of the Top Listing Agent Show, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Top Listing Agent Show, the place to be to stay on the cutting edge of what it takes to sell more homes in less time. Each week, your host, Chadi Bazzi, will share with you the best skill sets, systems, and strategies so you can become a top listing agent. And now, let the show begin.
Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Top Listing Agent Show. Today, we're going to talk about the 12 common denominators of all top listing agents. But before we get into that, let me just give you a quick update as to what direction we're taking the show in. Obviously, the first 3 shows were top listing agent interviews. Number 1 was with Al Abdullah, who closed over 400 transactions last year. Make sure you catch that episode. Number 2 was an episode with my buddy Noe, who turned his business from a buyer-controlled business to a listing-controlled business. And episode number 3 was a very powerful interview with Thatch Nguyen. Last week, we decided to begin doing something different. And we began by having a conversation about the 7-step process to create a breakthrough like a top listing agent. Today, we're taking it a step further, and we're talking about the top listing agent common denominators. Now, the next 3 episodes are 3 episodes that you absolutely do not want to miss. So today I'm going to share with you the 12 common denominators, okay, of all top listing agents. Next week, the next episode is going to be all about the top listing agent mindset, how to develop an unstoppable top listing agent mindset. And then the following week, we're going to talk about, what are the best lead sources of a top listing agent, and then what are the best must develop skill sets of a top listing agent. And then we're going to go back to the interviews. I've already conducted some very, very, very powerful interviews that I really cannot wait to begin to share with you. But I wanted to give that a break for a couple of weeks because I felt like, we're exposing you to all these top listing agents. They're sharing with you what it is that they are doing, but not specifically what it is or how it is that they are doing what they do to become the top agents, that they are. Now, I want to share that with you. And other than that, let's just jump in and talk about, what are the common denominators of all top listing agents. If when I began to really dissect that, it all happened maybe about a month ago, like dissect it very deep. About a month ago, I had one of my coaching clients here, and she happens to be in an office to where, they have one gentleman there who's gotten to the point to where he's doing like 150 transactions a year. Primarily, probably about 60 to 70% of that business, all listings sold versus buyer sales. And she's like, that's the kind of business I want to be doing. So I was like, all right, since, we have that person right there in your office, that's a person that you rub shoulders with pretty much every single day. And that's the closest person to you who's doing what it is that, you want to be doing. Let's take a look at all that person's characteristics, okay? Let's take a look at all that person's characteristics and try to identify, what makes him who he is. What makes his business as strong of a business as it is. And then let's measure what you do and who you are to who he is and what he does. And let's bridge the gap. And, quite honestly, we came up with a list. We draw right there on my board here in my office. And I think we came out with probably about 30 different characteristics. And then what I decided to do is I decided to take it a step further and said, all right, that's just a little bit too much, for us to tackle. Let's break it down to the top, like literally 10. And even that was a stretch. And, at the end of the day, we ended up settling pretty much for 12 top listing agent common denominators. And I want to share all 12 with you today. And also, one of the things that we got going on right now here in my company is we have something called the Top Listing Agent Academy. And right now in the Top Listing Agent Academy, I got 5 different people from 5 different marketplaces that are going through the course. And pretty much through this course, there's, we show up and, we mastermind and work with those 5 people every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So these guys collectively are getting about 6-7 hours of time with me every single week, working on developing, turning them into top listing agents. So I'll be sharing more of that with you guys as time comes. But we began the whole entire course by discussing these very important 12 common denominators. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into all 12 of them. And no order of importance, at all. And if there is an order of importance, then number 1 would be number 1 and the rest, no order of importance. It could go in any order. I put down, the number 1 common denominator in all these top listing agents is number 1, they all have a vision. They all have a vision. And what do I mean by that? I mean that, they have a purpose to do what it is that they do. They're not in the business to just, list property and, sell homes. It's for more than that. I talked to, look, I've been on over 20,000 one-on-one coaching sessions thus far in my career. And I've talked to way too many people from way too many different marketplaces, etc. And, there's a lot of people that, tell me, hey, I got involved in real estate because I like people and I want to help the, American dream. Look, at the end of the day, it's a business, okay? And it's a business that is gonna, put food on our table, give us shelter, and give us the abundance and the vacations and everything else that we want. Okay, and I see too many different people in the marketplace. Too many people just barely making it, and then very few people that are up there. This is where I want you. I want you up here. I want you to be amongst the best and the top agents in your marketplace. So number 1 common denominator is they have a vision. So let's talk about that. The people that have that vision, they know exactly what it is that they want. They know what they want. And then they take it a step further than that. They know exactly why they want it. They have this special connection between them and the end result that they are after. And, why is that critically important? Because, when you take a look at a top listing agent, they're pretty much working the same amount of time that you are. Some are working less than you are, although they're doing a lot more business than you are. They never appear to be tired. They appear to be very charismatic. They appear to be very confident. They appear to, have it all. Okay. It's not that they have more energy than you. It's not that they have anything more than you. It's like, they have that drive. They have that burning desire. They connected with the vision. So I would challenge you and say, what is your vision? What is your why? Why do you want to do as many transactions as you want to do? What is important to you about that? What will achieving the goal ultimately do for you? Is what it's going to do for you important enough for you to sacrifice and do all the things that you got to do on a daily basis to become a top listing agent? If it's not, then just minimize your goal. Or if you really want that vision, then most likely you got to up your activities, etc. So regardless, number 1 common denominator of all top listing agents is they all have a vision and they're very connected to their vision. So that's number 1. What is number 2? Number 2, I put down, I'm not going to speak too much about that, but number 2, I put down they respect their mind and their body. They respect their mind and their body. Now, if we're talking about the body, I'm not necessarily talking about people becoming, bodybuilders or anything like that. What I'm talking about is, they do something on a physical level every single day. I mean, if you're watching, the top agents, top listing agents, from all over the country online, they're all, waking up early every single morning. They're all going to the gym. They're all working out. They're all getting involved in triathlons and marathons and, all kind of sporting events, etc. That's something that they all have in common. And I think it's because somebody doing so much business, it takes a physical toll on them. So the physical exercise just gives them a little bit more vitality, a little bit more energy to keep the drive going, etc. And I put down that, like, they respect their mind. Like, they're working on their mind every single day. something I'm always talking about, I'm always saying, your input determines your output. And I'm not so much just talking about output in terms of the words that are coming out of your mouth, I'm talking about output in terms of the actions that you are taking, pretty much every single day. And, if you're putting in, positivity in your mind, then, you're becoming more positive, you're becoming more confident, you're becoming more driven, you're becoming an action taker, you're taking actions every single day. And, a lot of the actions that you're taking because of all that input are the actions that most people talk about taking but never do. And that's what separates the winners from the losers and everyone else in between. So number 2 is they respect their mind and their body. Number 3 is a very, very, very critical one, and it's they respect their time. They respect their time. Talking about that person that me and my coaching client were dissecting, about a month ago. That person also happens to be a buddy of mine. And that's a person that places a very high value on their time. Even like that's my boy. I give him a call, 9 out of 10 times he ain't answering the call. And he's more likely to answer my call than to answer somebody else's call. And he's not answering my call. And the reason being is because he's got a high value on his time. And he's got an agenda and he's got a schedule. And he's following that schedule all day, every single day. So look, you got to be outcome driven. You got to have a schedule. Top listing agents, what they do is every single night they sit down and they plan out their day, for the next day. They wake up every single day and they're like, my schedule is my boss. My number one obligation, my number one job, my number one duty today is to follow that schedule, because that schedule is my roadmap to the end destination. If I do everything that my schedule says I'm supposed to do, then I get everything that I'm supposed to get. Most people out there who are not top listing agents, what do? They do whatever, whenever. They do what's comfortable, not what's in their schedule. So common denominator number 3 of a top listing agent is they have a very high respect for their time. Number 4, they have a very strong work ethic. They have a very strong work ethic. Nobody needs to tell them, what to do or when to do it. They know that in order for them to, become a top listing agent, they got to have a strong work ethic. Strong work ethic necessarily means, a lot of times getting to the office a little bit earlier than, most people. It simply means staying in the office and working a little bit longer than most people. It simply means that sometimes you have to show up on the weekend and do what you got to do. Look, like they say, if you want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way. And if you don't, you'll figure out an excuse. And, you got to develop that, strong work ethic. So that's common denominator number 4. Let's move on to common denominator number 5. I put down, they are masters at pre-qualifying and listening. They are masters at pre-qualifying and listening. And, this ties in very critically with the next point that I'm going to share with you, point number 6, and also with point number 3, because they have a high value on their time. They're not going to just go on an appointment with anyone, anywhere, anytime. They're only going to go on an appointment with people who are, motivated, people who know what they want, people who are, qualified, people who are pre-approved, people who are serious about buying a home and or, selling a home, etc. So, they become masters at pre-qualifying. They're asking all the hard questions that most people are not comfortable, asking their buyers and sellers ahead of time. And they're doing it for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is to, protect their time. But also reason number 2 is for common denominator number 6. So let me share that with you and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Common denominator number 6 is they are masters at their presentations. They are masters at presenting. See, the qualifying, okay, not only does it, help you protect your time, but it helps you also identify what your presentation should be all about. I have a rule with, my one-on-one coaching clients. I say, look, It's easy to take a listing from a seller as long as number one, you know what they want. Number two, you know why they want it. And number three, you show up and show them how using your services equals them getting what they want. That's it. Okay. So it's that simple. And I'll be talking more about that in a couple of weeks on episode number 7 that we are going to do here at the Top Listing Agent Show. So make sure that you are subscribed to the show so you never miss any of these. So we're going to go very deep, and I'm going to give you, the not the what to do. I'm going to get into the how to do it. And, because like I said earlier, in all these interviews that I'm doing and other people are doing, it's like all these people are telling you what they do, but nobody's showing you how to do it. So I'm going to make sure I show you how to do it. And that's exactly why you want to make sure you are subscribed to the Top Listing Agent Show. So number 6, they are masters at presenting. Number 7 is they are masters at closing. They are masters at closing. They are confident enough to look the sellers in the eye and say, look, you have a lot of choices, but the best choice is right here, right now, and I'm giving you the opportunity to sign the contract and work with me. Go ahead, do it right now. Okay, so we'll just keep it masters at closing. We're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks. We're going to get very detailed, but for right now, and there's a reason why I'm giving you these 12, by the way. I'm going to give you an exercise to do at the end of the show, so make sure you listen to this whole entire episode. So number 7, we said they're masters at closing. Number 8, they are systematic. They are systematic. And this is so critical. I mean, there's so many people out there that have bits and pieces of the system, and that's why they have bits and pieces of a business, bits and pieces of an income, bits and pieces of struggles and frustrations and everything else, is because they're not systematic. A top listing agent is very systematic. They know that the moment that they generate a lead, they know exactly what the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps are. Okay, the moment that they generate an appointment, they know what their next 2, 3, 4, 5 steps are. The moment that they go on an appointment, they have a formula, they have a step-by-step process, a system as to how to begin the conversation, how to navigate the conversation. Once they take the listing, they have a checklist, a process, a system on what it is that they need to do to get that listing sold. How to communicate with the sellers, how often to communicate with the sellers, what to communicate with the sellers, and same thing with the buyers. They have a system in place for how to get more repeat and referral business. I mean, they have systems in place. They are very, very systematic. They don't leave anything to chance. And just take a hard look at your business right now. You don't even need to take a hard look at your business. It's a very simple question to answer. Do I have systems in place? It's either yes or no. And if the answer is no, then the question should become, do I need systems in place? Absolutely yes, I'll answer that for you. Then the question should then become again, what systems do I need to put in place? Find out what systems you need to be put that you need to put in place. And look, right below, leave us a comment. Let me know what you need help with. Specifically, I'll make an episode on the Top Listing Agent Show revolve around whatever system you feel you need help with, etc. Just let us know. We'll communicate with you. We'll work with you. So number 8 is they are systematic. Number 9, they are responsible. They take responsibility. They don't blame the marketplace for their lack of or their success or this or that. They don't blame their broker. They don't blame their management. They don't blame their teammates and their buyers and sellers and family members and everything. They take responsibility for everything. Look, if you have everything you want in your life and in your business, it's because you were responsible enough to do exactly what you were supposed to do. You were responsible enough to learn whatever it is that you needed to learn in order for you to acquire all that you've acquired. And if you don't have it, then chances are you're not taking the responsibilities that you should for you to go out there and do the things that you need to do, for you to go out there and learn the things that you need to learn so you can have it all. So number 9, they are responsible. Number 10, they're always learning. They are always learners, something you hear me talk about all the time. Big learners are big earners. Look, I'm rubbing shoulders with top listing agents from all over the country. Many of them are my coaching clients, and we're always talking. They're always asking me, "Hey, what book are you reading?" They're always telling me, "Hey, have you read that book? Have you listened to that audio program? Have you attended that seminar? Did you hear what so and so said?" Look, they're always learning every single day. They're reading something, whether it's an article online, or they're listening to a podcast like this podcast. They're subscribed to Audible, they're listening to positive audio programs, etc. Look, bottom line is big learners are big earners, okay? The more you learn, the more you earn. So number 10 is they are always learning. Number 11, they just simply do whatever it takes, and there's really not much to say about they do whatever it takes. I think they do whatever it takes because number one, they have a vision. Number two, they have a lot of energy, and they have a lot of energy because they respect their mind and their body. They do whatever it takes because they have the time to do whatever it takes because they have high level of respect for the time, as we talked about earlier. They do whatever it takes because of point number 4. We said they have a strong work ethic. They're systematic, they're responsible, they just do whatever it takes. Do you have a whatever it takes attitude? If not, then you need to work on developing this whatever it takes attitude. And the final point number 12, is they know their marketplace like the back of their hand. They know their marketplace like the back of their hand. Let me ask you a question. In your specific marketplace, the part of your marketplace that you're supposed to be an expert in, okay? How many listings came on the market in the first quarter of this year? Okay. How many of those listings sold? Okay. What is the average days on the market? What is the average list price to sales price, etc., etc., etc.? Look, it's not just about knowing, the highways and the school district. That's important, and the parks and the recreational places and all. You gotta know all that stuff, but you gotta go above and beyond that. An expert doesn't just know the area. They know the statistics. They know the numbers. Okay, they know the values, etc. So, any top listing agent, can get a call to go do a listing presentation, and even without a CMA, they can pretty much pinpoint the price that home will sell for within 95% because of their high level of expertise. They can tell immediately based on the condition, based on the location, based on this price that we set for you, you should sell in 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, etc. Do you know your market that well? So I challenge you. Look, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I'm going to challenge you to, if you're listening to this on the podcast, just simply go to shadibazzi.com/podcast for all the show notes. And, you want to, write down these, 12 common denominators. What I would do if I were you, and that's what I'm going to challenge you to do, is next to every single one of those, I'll just grade myself on a scale of 1 to 10. I will grade myself on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, for example, number 1, they have a vision. If you have a vision in place and it's a very strong vision, I would write down, 10. If you don't have a vision, then I'd give myself a number 1. But if you have a vision, but it's not pulling you in the direction that you want to be pulled in, as I was speaking today, then maybe give yourself a 5. Whatever that number is below a 10 in any one of those categories, then you want to ask yourself the question is, how do I make that a 10? How do I make it a 10? And if you know how to make it a 10, then you write down, how do I make it a 10? Then you put down the action steps that you got to engage yourself in to make it a 10. And then those action steps become your to-do list that you need to be working on to make it a 10. And look, if you don't know what steps you got to take to make it a 10, then find someone who does. Google it. Write me and, ask me the question. Right below this video, if you're watching a video or if you're on a podcast, go to shadibazzi.com/podcast, and you can leave a question there for me, and we'll give you the answers. So the bottom line is, take responsibility and do whatever it takes. These are the 12 common denominators. You can be a top listing agent as long as you follow through on mastering every single one of those 12 common denominators. Look, with that said, thank you very much for your listening to the Top Listing Agent Show. Please leave us a 5-star review, positive review and a 5-star rating on iTunes. And if you know anyone who can benefit from this episode or any of our episodes, please share our show with them. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week in the next episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Take care. Bye-bye.